For 3 decades, Mark Reynolds believed he'd built a life that could weather anything. He and his wife, Linda, had met when they were young, built a home from scratch, raised 2 kids, and survived hardships that could have broken most couples. To everyone who knew them, they were the definition of commitment. The couple people pointed to when they talked about lasting love. Mark taught high school, Linda sold houses. They weren't wealthy, but they had comfort, laughter, and years of shared memories. At least, that's what Mark had always believed, until the day the light finally hit the cracks he'd never noticed. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday. School had dismissed early, so Mark came home ahead of schedule. Linda was supposed to be showing a house, but her car was still in the driveway. He called her name as he stepped inside. No answer. The house was quiet, too quiet. Thinking she might be working in her home office, he headed toward it. That's when he saw her laptop open on the kitchen counter, something she never did. The screen showed her email inbox, and one subject line stood out: "Our secret stays safe." A cold unease crept in as curiosity took over. He clicked. The first message hit like a punch to the chest. It was from David, Linda's old college boyfriend, a name Mark hadn't heard in decades. The email was dated 2 days earlier. "I can't believe you still have all our letters after all these years. Reading them feels like time never moved. I miss us, Linda. I always have." Mark's pulse hammered as he scrolled down. There were years of messages, hidden under a fake account. They'd reconnected 15 years ago, right after their daughter left for college. What began as catching up had quietly evolved into something far deeper, a secret emotional affair that had lasted longer than Mark could have imagined. Photos followed. Linda and David at a beach, at a cafe, a selfie in a hotel room during a business trip to San Diego. Mark's chest tightened. Every anniversary, every smile, every "I love you" suddenly felt rehearsed, part of a play he hadn't known he was in. Then he found the letter, an unsent draft to David. "I'll never leave, Mark, but you'll always have my heart. What we have is real, even if it's hidden." He closed the laptop slowly and stared at the floor. 30 years of birthdays, dinners, hospital visits, graduations, and all that time her heart had belonged elsewhere. It wasn't the affair that broke him. It was realizing he'd been filling a space in his own marriage, the man she lived with, but not the one she loved. He looked around the kitchen, the family photos, the sticky notes on the fridge, the little reminders of shared life. Suddenly, everything felt like props on a stage. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just stood there, breathing in the silence. 15 minutes later, the door opened. Linda walked in smiling, grocery bag in hand, and froze when she saw his face. "Mark," she said softly. He didn't answer, just turned the laptop toward her. Her face went pale. Her hands trembled. "I can explain," she whispered. He finally spoke, his voice low, controlled. "Don't. It's been 30 years. If it wasn't worth being honest about before, it's not worth explaining now." She reached for him. "Mark, please. It's not what it looks like. I needed to feel something again. We drifted, and He cut her off. "No, Linda. You drifted. You let me build a life on lies because it was easier than facing the truth." His voice cracked, but he didn't stop. "You had 30 years to tell me. You didn't. So now you have 30 seconds to understand that I'm done." He grabbed his coat and keys, and without slamming the door or looking back, walked out the same way he had 30 years ago, when they first stepped into that house together. He drove aimlessly, needing air that didn't smell like betrayal. He ended up at a small park where they used to take the kids when they were little. Sitting on a worn bench, he realized something simple and devastating. Love wasn't meant to feel like endurance. It was supposed to feel like truth. For 30 years he had endured, not lived. His phone buzzed, message after message from Linda. Apologies, explanations, please. He didn't read a single one. He turned off the phone and let the silence speak for him. The next morning, he called his son and told him everything. "I'll be okay," Mark said quietly. "I just need time." There was a pause. Then his son replied, "Dad, You always told us honesty mattered more than comfort. I guess Mom forgot that. For the first time in years, tears came, not from heartbreak, but relief. The weight of pretending was finally gone. Weeks later, Linda tried reaching out again. Letters left at his apartment. The last one ended with, "If you ever find it in your heart to forgive me, I'll be here." Mark read it once, folded it neatly, and placed it in a drawer, not to forget, but to remember what betrayal looks like when it wears the mask of love. Years later, when friends asked why he never remarried, Mark would smile faintly and say, "Because peace feels better than pretending." He hadn't walked out to end a marriage. He walked out to finally begin his life.